Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Raymond, also known as Raymond Psycho on Instagram and JDMOVERDOSE on YouTube. Check it out. Today I got something special for you guys. I got my newest chassis here, the YD2SXII, and we're gonna be reviewing over it today. Hope you guys enjoy. So I know a lot of you guys have been asking about wanting to get the specs on my new chassis, but I haven't really felt confident on how it's been driving until recently, and I think I'm pretty ready to share all the specs with it. I'm pretty confident with how it drives now. I think I'm ready to share with all the specs, the motor, electronics, alignment, suspension, you know, even some aero on it. Like, hope you guys like it. It's gonna be sick. So here it is, guys. This is my new YD2SXII. The first thing you probably notice is the motor. I flipped the trans, the S-trans. This is not the RR conversion. This is just the S-trans, just flipped. Literally, it fits. And I got the ESC mount to put it on this side. Usually it's on this side. I don't have a battery in it right now, but battery, I can usually fit both sizes, long pack and shorties. Long pack will fit this way, and then shorty pack will fit right here, as seen in the pictures. So I do have all the hop-up parts for it, the aluminum upper arms and the short rear arms. I also have the red aluminum toe blocks. That's just for looks, doesn't really matter. Also have the aftermarket knuckles. I think they call these one the Kingpin ones, made by Yokomo. I have it spaced out about 2 millimeters inside there. And then also the aluminum rear knuckles. One thing that I do plan on doing to this car someday will be the active rear toe, which I have on my YD2E, and I really like it. So I really want to try it on this car, but just haven't had the time to get around to doing that yet. Just been trying to get the basics of the car dialed in first, and then I'll try messing around with it more. So one thing you probably noticed is these blue braces here. I learned about this from my new teammate Timmy Wu. Shouts outs to Timmy and TW Racing, and thank you to them for picking me up as a driver this year. So this part is actually a brace from a Yokomo drift package, and it fits pretty well. It just needs the spacers on the bottom there. I got bearings there, but it doesn't really matter. It really stiffens up the front. But I haven't really found a way to stiffen up the rear yet. I just probably need something connecting from here to the shock tower, and that'll probably be good enough. So next I'll go over alignment and suspension. Alignment for first camber, I usually go around 7 degrees in the front, -7, and then in the rear, depending on the surface I'm running on. Usually I run on polished concrete, and I have it around 2. It kind of depends on how much weight you have up here and then how much the car leans, but you just kind of have to go by feel with your car. But usually I run -1 or 2. Steering, so this is pretty much how I usually like to have my Ackerman set up. I like to have it on a little bit, positive side. I just like having the trailing tire help pull the car around the turn when it's, because if it's parallel, it'll just more have the car crab walk more. This will help pull the car around the turn faster. For caster, I have my spacers up here pushed to the back. I've tried it both ways with the front, middle, and I personally just like the back. It just gives it more fun feel. This what the caster looks like. It's a little more straight up and down at angle. This is, I usually try to set up my car more like a real like FD cars and stuff. I try to mimic what they do with their cars, their alignment and everything, their stance, ride height. Ride height, I actually usually always have it sitting lower in the rear, a little bit higher in the front. It just makes the car a lot more stable and drives from the rear a bit more. So the holes on the knuckles, the bottom side I have it on the front hole. Top side, I believe there's only one hole there anyway. So it's definitely maybe like only a couple degrees of caster on this car. So this is my alignment in the rear. Usually I like to have more close to zero toe in the rear. I think toe in the rear kind of makes the car feel a little bit awkward mid-drift. It's good going down the straight and stuff, but during the drift, if you have toe in, it kind of makes it less predictable. That's why they have active toe. When on throttle, the car squats and then the rear toe goes in. So you get that toe in when you want it, which is why I want it. I also have spacers underneath my rear toe block. It's kind of hard to see. I would put more, but this is the max I can go with the trans there. I think I'm about 2 millimeters under the rear toe block. And this is how my alignment changes on squat. It does camber in, but when the car leans, for the most part, on the outside wheel, it'll stay flat. That way, when coming out of turns, the car is leaning and you get the most tire patch coming out. So to get how I have it, I do have it spaced up quite a lot over here. And then on the inside part, it is more on the bottom inside hole on the shock tower. Next, let's go over my suspension. On the front, I have just 200 Yokomo oil with 4-hole piston drilled out. I believe it's like 1.5 mil. And one thing that I also learned to do was to drill a hole into the top here. That way it doesn't, the front isn't so bouncy, it just goes down and straight up and stays there. It doesn't like bounce after you push it down. Keeps the tires more planted and makes the car a lot more predictable that way. These are actually a different set of shocks that I got with the car. I built a whole new pair just for the rear. So these ones here are 100 Yokomo oil with a 6-hole top line tapered piston. And then I also have the wrap up next variable like plastic ring underneath the piston. So on rebound, it's a lot slower rebound. Keeps the weight on the wheels more going through the turns for longer, and you keep that traction on the wheel longer. So you can probably throttle it more out of the turn. Next, I'll show you the width on the front of my car. I have it on the, you can't really see it, but the 10th mark on the bottom lower control arm. I did have it up to 14 before. I just experimented with it, but it made the car real stable, but it was really slow on transitions and switching directions. And so I brought it on to 10, and it made the car a lot more responsive in the front. Basically, you just gotta find the balance of where too much and too little is. So next we're gonna go over electronics. So for this car, I just kind of went all out on electronics and just got the latest stuff. So we got the SP03D. I really love this servo. It really fits my driving style. A lot of people say it's slow, but it's not slow, it's just smoother. It's less jerky. You gotta think of it as your rear wheels. If you give it too much throttle, you're just gonna break traction. Just like the front, if the steering is too jerky, you're gonna lose traction. This one is a lot smoother with higher torque. Next we got my ESC here, rpxii. Really love this thing. It's got a lot more settings to change compared to the other drift spec ESCs. For gyro, I use the Yokomo V4. This thing is definitely really smooth. I have not had any shaking in the steering since I got this thing. And now motor, I have the Yokomo DX1 Type T 10.5. I did also get a Type R, but I haven't tried it yet. I think for the surface that I'm running on, the 10.5 Type T fits better for smoother, slipperier surfaces. And then Type R is probably more suited for bigger tracks like the Futaba Arena, or even just like grippier surface like carpet. One thing I recommend for a must get is this Wi-Fi module here. This here will just completely change how you set up and tune your motor. You can connect it to your phone through an app, and while you're driving you can change settings and feel how it affects the car right then and there, which is why I love this thing. For gearing, I just run the stock spur that came with it. I believe it's 84T, and then I did up the pinion to 24, and stock was, I believe, 22. Gives a little bit more gradual acceleration, so you don't break the traction when coming out of turns as much. So one other thing I believe is pretty unique about my chassis, other than the braces from the drift package and just the flip S-trans, is I do run aero underneath my chassis. I'm not 100% sure if it actually makes a difference, but I did have, on my last trip to Japan, I entered a Yokomo drift meeting, and one of the drivers of Yokomo, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, he stuck some foam tape underneath my cart, like how these plastic Lexan pieces are, and the car felt a lot more stable. I think it might just be placebo, but it could make a difference. Either way, it makes you look crazy. So a couple more things I almost forgot to mention. Radio I run is a T7PX. It's a really awesome radio. It's got more settings that I can change on it compared to my last radio that I had. And also the wheels in the rear, these ones are 9mm. I just put these on for just for pictures, because I'm not going to be driving it while I'm here in Japan. But usually I run less offset in the rear. The rear, I usually like it more narrow, because for me it makes the car feel like it will have more side bite, and it'll stop the sideways momentum faster and get the car moving forward faster. That is something I learned from one of the regular drivers at Wynn's Narita Circuit. So hope you guys really enjoy that video, and hope you guys learned something. I always love to get feedback, and you guys always teach me stuff too. And next video, I would definitely love to show all the settings I have on the electronics, the servo, ESC and stuff, the gyro, and also probably another video on my current competition body, because that holds a lot of meaning to me, and I just want to show all the all the backstory, the history, and how it's evolved over time. So hope you guys enjoyed. Raymond_Cycle on Instagram and JDMOVERDOSE on YouTube. Have a nice day. See you guys later.